In this video, I will show you how to work with texture sets. So what is texture set for 3D stuff? You can just go into Polyheaven website. We did go for HDRI already, but you see that there is a textures here section. And into these textures sections, you can find some really nice textures that are well organized and really made for make 3D stuff. So here, for example, let's go into this red brick material here. You can see that this is the result here in 3D, okay? You can load here something that will show you in 3D after a while of computing, and you will see the result directly like that. You can see it into the website, and you see here the set. So here you have several textures that will influence the basic BSDF shader that we have. And so we have here the ambient occlusion, so it's a kind of black and white values that will show only the parts that are close to each other. Here you have the basic color that will be used to plug into the color. Here we have the normals, and we will talk about the normals, but basically it simulates kind of little details sculpted into the surface. Here we have another way to manage normals, but it's a normal map as well. Here we have the height that can even manage here how where the vertices are. And here we have the roughness. And basically that's what you need to make a shader looks very realistic. So here, if you come to another example, for example, here we have some rusty metal with metallic stuff into it. So in that case, you might have another texture that manages the metalness as well. Here, as you can see, the white will be metallic, the dark will not be metallic. So, and we have the other textures as well that you can add to your shader to make it look very realistic. So that's what I will show you and how it works. Basically, I did download some of them already into the source files. You can see that here into the source files using texture sets, I did download some textures for you. So we have dark wood that looks like this. We have, for example, a metal rust with some a little metalness here. We have some rocky terrain. We have some rust metal here. It's this one. We have the tiles to show you, and maybe some wood floor as well. So just to show you how works this textures. And if you want to download them, you can just download here a 2K zip file, or choose the size here, and it can be a blend file as well, and it will give you the shader directly done. Me, I really want to show you how to make this material, so I will not download the blend. I will show you how to make it yourself, and you will see it's very easy, because here this website gives you already a lot of stuff, but maybe you will download on other websites and they will not give you the blend file. So in that case, I show you how it works without the blend file. Go. So now we will go into our Suzanne monkey skin here, and what I will do, I will just not call it monkey skin because it will be now something totally different. I will remove all the nodes that we did create before, and I will add a shader principle here, okay? And this shader, I will plug it here, just like the default shader that we have in Blender when you add a new shader. And now I would like to add some textures. So let's go into the right folder. So for that, I would just copy and paste here the folder. Yeah, we have the textures here. So I will make Ctrl+C just like that. And I will go there and make Ctrl+V. And like this, I'm into my the right shader, the right folder here. And what we can do actually, we can just navigate into, let's say, let's take this rust metal like this. Let's take this one. It's an interesting one. what I can do, I can just click and drag like that, and you see that I have a new node, and it appears here. I can plug the color into that, just like this. And look, we have already the color that appears into Suzanne. This will work well because Suzanne is unwrapped. Unwrapped, we will have a full chapter about unwrap and UV mapping. So it means that Suzanne here is unwrapped into a 2D flat texture like this, and we will see how to go from 3D to 2D like this. And like this, you see the result, and it's mapped into Suzanne with these informations. When you add a Suzanne in Blender by default here, you can see that into the options you have generate UVs, and that's what it does basically. But you can make it manually. We will see that into the UV section. But for now, let's come back into our shading here, and we can see that now if we plug this to this, we have already the informations, okay? And basically what we have to do, if we want to see here the names, it will be easier. So for example, if I want to use the roughness, I select the texture that is rock, and I just click and drag here. I don't want the color space sRGB, I want it just black and white. So what I will do, I will choose non-color in that case because I just want black and white values. And I just click and drag the roughness. So you don't see that much difference here. But if I unplug the base color, you see, and put dark material here, you see that already the roughness is very influenced by that. Okay? So I put back the color here. And then I would like to use here the metallic here that is there. So I will just make some space for it, add the metallic, that one, okay, click and drag, just put it there. Use not sRGB, but use non-color, and you will just click and drag the metallic like this. So again, if you just watch the color, it didn't change that much, but if you don't watch the color, here you can see that it did change a little more. So you have some metallic stuff now. And we can add now one that is very important. And for this, I will just remove everything. Like this, you have a pure black material, just like that, black shader. And I will use the GL. So the normal GL, this is the one that I want to use. And I just want to click and drag it again. Put it somewhere here. I don't want sRGB as the others. I want a non-color data. It will just go into something like that in the end of it. And we want to plug it into the normals, but you can see that we have some colors here and some normals here. So it will not be possible to plug the yellow to the normal here. And we have a specific node to make the transfer. The name is normal map. You can search the node here by just clicking normal, and you will have the normal map node. The normal map node will have a yellow information, color informations here, and go into a normal informations. Okay, so I will just click and drag this here, click and drag this here, and now in the end of that one, you can see the results. It's like we have some grainy parts into the surface, so it's like a sculpted material now. Okay, we can change the strength into it. So let's put 0, we have no effect. 0.2, we have little effect. And 1, we have big effect. 2 might be too much in some cases. In that case, it works. So sometimes it doesn't work that well with values over 1. And I plug everything back. And look, it starts to look really realistic now. Okay, we have something that looks very nice already. So without the normal at 0, you see we don't have these little grains here. So now we have more realism in that part. And what we can do to add a touch, a last touch of realism, is use the AO here. And the AO, it's the little parts that are close to each other. Like for example, here you have the paint that is damaged and with the rust and everything. So this part will show some darkness here. And you add it to the color. You don't plug it directly to the principled here because you don't have any AO into the principled. And I would like to have it actually, so I call for Blender heads. But anyway, what we would like to add is we would like to add it into the color here. Okay, so we'll not use a principled mix shader. We will use a mix color. So let's go into the color section, mix color. We would like to plug the first one here and the second one here. So what it makes basically in the end of it, if we mix it like this, we have the AO. If we mix it like that, we have the normal color. But we don't want to use a mix factor here. We want just to add the dark parts of this texture, and for that we will just use the multiply. Now you can see without and with it, it's just slightly different. But here, for example, into the ear, we will see more the result here with and without. You see this darkness here, these little shades that appear here. It will be very important to make the thing more natural and more realistic. And now you have the end of the shader that is done. And now you have the shader that is done. If you put this one into it, good. Now we have everything done. We could even plug the displacement here that is there. And again, this is black and white value. For this, it will be a little specific, but I will show you how it works. We don't work with sRGB again. We work with non-color data, and we want to plug in into the displacement this. So for that, I will just add a displacement, as it says, and I will just plug the color into the height. Okay. And now I can just plug the displacement into the displacement. By default, it just adds some darkness and increase a little the effect of the normal map. It doesn't change that much. For make a real displacement, you have to use here something a little different. So it will go into the settings of the displacement here, and you see that you have by default into the settings here, you have bump only into the displacement. Me, I would like displacement and bump, and it will change really the vertices of the object. So what we want is something not that big for this, and we want more vertices into our surface. So we would like maybe let's add 4 subdivisions to have more of this, and this the mid-level or the scale has to be changed, like 0.1, something like that. And you see that now it really moved the real vertices. So for this kind of surface that is actually flat, it's not that interesting. But for other materials, like the other textures that I have here, the rocky terrain, I will show you that with the rocky terrain, it will work pretty well. Let's say our texture is too big now. So what you can do, you can just plug all the vector here values to shortcut with Control T. Like that, you will have some texture coordinates. You just select one here, and now you will have some texture coordinates, and you can change the scale of it. So if I just watch this one in the end of that one, or maybe I will plug this one here, the end of that one here, if I scale it at 5, I will have something repeated. And if I change it at 0.1, I will have something bigger. So sometimes you will want to change the scale of your texture, and it will be here. So you have basically to plug everything into that one. This is very important, or it will not work well. So you plug this to that, and again to that one. Good. So now if I come back here, I will change directly all the textures. So if I put it at 2, I will have this kind of behavior. Works well. Okay, we are happy with that. So now we have our Rusty shader. And all of this, it's a lot of clicks. It's a lot of things to manage, and it's a lot of manipulations. You can see it's not just one click. And what is good with Node Wrangler is that you can make it with one click. All of this. It was very important for me to show you how it works, but basically you can make it with this principal setup. And this principal setup is Shift-Control-T by selecting all of this. So let's remove that. Let's remove that and select just the principled shader here. It will work only if you select the principal shader, what I show you here. So let's say I would like to make this rocky terrain here. So I will just make Ctrl-Shift-T, and I will go into the textures and the rocky terrain texture, and I will select the textures that I want to add into my shader. I would like to add the roughness for sure. I would like to add the normal GL. I would like to add the displacement, the diffuse, that is the color, and the ambient occlusion. Sometimes the ambient occlusion I think doesn't work, it depends. And I will just click on Principal Texture Setup. And look at that. It did work perfectly directly here. The only thing that we have to change is the mid-level and the scale. Maybe we'll put it at 0.1 and look at this shader directly. Everything is set it up with the same settings that I did show you, but directly in one click. So it's a very easy way, and that's why Node Wrangler is very important. Just for this, the principal texture setup, here it's very important. So now you have your texture. You can change the value here. It will change, it will just create some new here mapping into it by multiply the textures, and so it's very easy to make. As you can see, the only thing that didn't work here is the ambient occlusion. Either I did tell you it didn't plug to the principal directly. You have to just manually just add here the mix color and add color here into that, just like we did with the multiply, and this multiply at 1 and put it at the base color there. You can see that it add a little shades into the details. So yeah, and you see that it looks very realistic, especially with the displacement. So let's make another here. I will make Ctrl Z a few times just to come back with the principal without anything. I select the principal here and Ctrl-Shift-T. Ctrl-Shift-T, let's go for maybe a wood floor. Okay, so I will select the diffuse, the roughness, the ambient occlusion for that one, the normal GL, and the displacement maybe is not useful. It's anyway, it's something that is flat, so I will just make principal texture setup. And let's go, and we have directly a floor material. I just have again to add the ambient occlusion that can really help to make something more realistic. So let's go for it. Mix color. We just plug that one here, choose the multiply and click and drag this here, and you have your shader that is done. So before it was like this, after it's more like that. So with more crisp details. You can, by remove the clump factor, increase the influence of the ambient occlusion to have something more like this, for example. So it can be interesting in some cases. And you can change the color itself. So for example, let's say you have a basic material here that you like, but it's not the color that you want. It can happen sometimes. So let's increase this at 5, like this we see more the details like this. Okay, perfect. So you can still change the IOR in case or something like this, but let's say you would like something with less roughness. You would like something more shiny with kind of coat into it. So you can increase the coat value, for example, but you can change the roughness informations that are going into that as well. So for that, you can just add a color. I like to add RGB curves to change these things, for example. Here you have basically this, and at the end of this, you have the same now. But if I decrease that, I will have something darker. Okay? And now the roughness will not have the same influence. You see that now I will have something with less roughness, but always with this nice informations that gives us the realism of this. And I can increase that by make something totally raw like that as well. So can be very good just to change the colors to manage with this. You can play as well with other mix with other colors nodes here, like for example the hue saturation value. What I like is to add a hue saturation value and an RGB curve. So the RGB curve as well for the colors will work pretty well just to change the intensity if you want something darker or if you want something lighter. Okay, so it works well. But with the, and you could play only with the R values, for example, just to make different settings here. Okay, I would like something with less reflections here, just something like this. Oops, sorry, I made a crazy curve. Just something like this, and maybe with an IOR little less strong. Something like that will work better for me. So now we'll have this this nice color that is coming here. So you can play with the red value, the green value, the blue value as well. But what I like is to change sometimes the colors, remove the saturation. For example, we would like something almost gray. We put the saturation at 0.2 and look, we have sometimes this kind of shaders for the floors. So it can be interesting. And after you can put it more light or less, decrease again the saturation, okay? Or if you put back the saturation at 0.6, for example, you can change the hue as well to go with something greenish, bluish, or whatever. So can be very interesting to work with these values to have something that suits your needs. Okay, you can play with the value as well to make it less, more darker and darker, for example. So yeah, these two nodes already creates a lot of possibilities. And so maybe we can just play with another one, just to click and drag everything and remove everything. So that's what is good, is that it's quick. Control-Shift-T, and you just select another one here. Let's go with the tiles, maybe. Okay, and so we will select the roughness here, the ambient occlusion again, the colors, the displacement maybe not, it's flat, more or less flat matter, flat shader, and the normal GL that is here. And let's add the principled here, and we have directly this. Again, we can change with, we can play with the scale to have something more realistic. And now look, it's already here. We just have to change the ambient occlusion as we did before a few times to make it work really well. So you can see that it's a very powerful method to have something really realistic quick. And that's what I wanted to show you that. Now what you can do as well, I will come back maybe with this one. Okay, like this you will have this example that I made. Maybe I will come back with something less crazy, like something like this, and 0.2 was good. I did like here the value over there, maybe a little lighter, maybe 0.1 is good as well. Okay, and I will remove this one. Good. So now you have this kind of shader. Increase a little that one, and look, you have something that is very beautiful to play with. Okay, so yeah, you have the other possibility as well. It's to download the blend files here directly, and to download and to append the shader directly from file append. Okay, let's take another here blend file like this. You see how it works. You enter into the blend file and you see the shaders that you want to append. Okay, so after you just, let's take for example this metal dark. We have it already in our scene, but it's just to show you how it works. So let's take this metal dark, I append it, and now it will be in my list. Okay, this one was already there, so it did create a duplication, but it will work in any case. So yeah, it can be an interesting way to manage your shaders. Don't create the folders with all your textures or all your shaders now, because we'll have a dedicated chapter about the asset browser, and you will see that it's so easy to create this kind of assets and folders like this with the asset browser, that it will be not a good way to manage it now. So wait until the chapter 11 to manage this. In the next video, we will see how to use the procedural shaders, the procedural materials. You see that here we use some textures that are with pixels here, but we can use some textures with here, like for example the noise textures that we did see, and this one are from Blender and are procedurals. So it will be the next video, and I will see you how to make interesting stuff with that.